Hi, I'm Hannah Wallace and welcome to our 2021 prediction series, where we'll be speaking to a range of industry experts as they share their insights and outlook for the year ahead. On the line now we have Erik Zingmark, Head of Transaction Banking for Nordea, who'll be talking us through the impact of 2020 on the transaction banking landscape. So welcome, Erik. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Yes, it's good to have you on again. I think we last spoke back in 2019 at Cybos about the important payment developments we're seeing in the Nordics, and a lot has changed since then, which is really where I want to start. I want to have a look at 2021. What do you think the impact of 2020 has been so far, and what do you think a post-pandemic landscape looks like to you?
Yeah, well, since we spoke last, things have continued according to expectations, and that is that we see a steep decrease in use of cash, and we see that contactless is growing also pre-COVID, but COVID has accelerated this a lot, both when it comes to contactless cards, mobile payments, but definitely also e-commerce.
Mm-hmm. All right, so run me through the trends, the main trends we're seeing in the year ahead then. That's what I'm interested in, especially around customer behavior. What are we seeing there?
Yeah, well, what is quite interesting is that we have for the last years talked about, call it a tail of customers using cash. And COVID has kind of penetrated that tail by getting elderly people to start using contactless means of payment. So they have become, used to contactless cards, as I said, using mobile payments, using mobile bank IDs, but also using online much more. So that has definitely accelerated. Then I think customers have become more aware of the opportunities they have, both consumers mainly perhaps, but also corporates, that they bring the kind of experiences they have as private individuals to the workplace and raise the demands on the providers. And that continues to accelerate.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's not just around payments as well. I mean, the beginning of the first lockdown, I was teaching my grandmother how to use Zoom and Teams like we are now.
Yeah, indeed.
So yes, another big topic of discussion over last year was perhaps this increased importance of collaboration. Could you tell us a bit more about the trends we're seeing around collaboration, around infrastructure? What about that?
Definitely. As many know, we are running a project in the Nordics called P27, where we are building a cross-border, cross-currency, real-time payment platform. And that is a very good example of where banks realize, like the telecom industry did some years ago, that we need to share core infrastructure in order to focus on our customers. Mm-hmm. And this is a great example of that. And I had expected this to happen even more many years now, where banks come together to not decrease competition. We are competing even more than ever, but to share investments into infrastructure that brings value to the society at large. Mm-hmm. P27 is, as I said, a great example of that. And I hope to see more going forward. We see that on the KYC space with a utility being created in Nordics, and I expect to see more going forward.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what does that mean for regulation and sort of policy? What can we expect in this space?
Yeah, well, obviously this work is in very close collaboration with regulators, so they are very aware of what we are doing, and I think what it will bring in the Nordics is that it will bring an even firmer transaction monitoring and fraud prevention, because suddenly the utility that will be doing this for the banks will be able to detect fraud and other problems better than we can do in isolation. So I think it will strengthen our ability to meet regulation, actually.
All right, so following on from that, what about the already very competitive payments landscape we're seeing today? Could you paint a picture for us for the year ahead?
Yeah, I think payments in general is a scale game. So I think we will see more and more also now post-COVID that you have to make a choice, right? Are you going for scale? Do you think that you can be successful in going for scale, or will you outsource parts of your operations to others that can provide a better unit cost and have more investment capacity? And many banks have survived with their current kind of capabilities and this investment capacity, but I think that will be impossible in the future. So I think all banks need to look at what operating model are we going to run for the future, and we are doing this now, and I think everyone will have to, unless they have done it already, because it will be more digital, right, in the sense, or binary, that you have to choose what kind of a player you need or should be to support your bank and your customers.
So there's the importance of staying competitive, and there's also this question about relevancy as well, which sort of leads me into my final question. What do you predict for Treasury, and do you think that the role of Treasury is likely to change in 2021?
We are very engaged in that question, and we think it's a super interesting question. What is the role of the future Treasury? And our kind of main message to our customers is that if you as a Treasury want to stay highly relevant within the company, you need to secure that you have the right competence. And that means that you need to understand what tools to use, what to do yourself, what to outsource, and ask the banks. But doing things like you have done before will not kind of be successful, because the business will kind of take their own decisions on how they are selling online, what kind of providers they are using in the business, and that goes for procurement and logistics and other functions within the company as well. So my advice to treasuries is to reach out to your banks, reach out to consultancy houses, read a lot, and find your own kind of strategy for how to stay relevant for the company in the future. And that is a steep task, because there are so many things happening affecting treasury nowadays.
Some very good advice there, Erik. And as always, a real pleasure to have you on. I hope we get to discuss these topics further down the line, maybe face to face, but for now we'll leave it there. So thank you very much for calling in.
Thanks a lot.